Second reason why I think Paul was willing to love that deeply, it's because Paul had a clear and very sobering understanding of hell. He said in chapter 9, verse 22, he says, I'll become all things to all men so that I might save some. Saved from what? You might be a skeptic, and we're so glad you're here. If Paul was preaching instead of me, he'd actually look at you and think, I need to save that person. What do we need to be saved from? Saved from hell. Back in the day, preachers used to try and scare people into becoming Christians. And we used to do that at summer camp too. You know, you'd have the week of summer camp, and then on Friday night, you'd stoke up the fire and things like that. And the guy would speak, and all these kids would be there, 8 or 9 years old, say, would you like Jesus to be your forever friend and live forever within heaven? Or would you like to go to hell? Oh, I'll pick that one. I'm there. And so we'd kind of frighten people into the kingdom, and we would do that hellfire and brimstone sermons, and we tried to frighten people into the kingdom, and we've kind of shifted. And we've kind of swung the pendulum, and I'm part of that too, where we talk a little more about salvation in this life, to be set free, made whole, and delivered. That's even a message that, that we really preach heavily in some of our ministries here, because we want people to have whole lives here and meaningful lives here. And salvation's not just for when you die, but it's also for here. But in our pendulum swinging, it is possible and most likely that we have lost a bit of the reality of something that a lot of us truly believe. And just because we've swung the pendulum does not minimize the reality of hell, which is a place of eternal separation from God and people that we love and all things good. And it's the eternal destiny for all who have fallen short of the glory of God, and that includes me and that includes you. Which is why the gospel is so important, and why it's important for us to explain and re-explain it and refresh our memories. Here's the gospel. If I summarize it, here's the gospel in a nutshell. We screwed up. We messed up. We've fallen short. We've hurt other people. We've hurt God. We've sinned, and we deserve hell. And just like when you sin against other people, there's a consequence, right? You feel the consequence. Well, God said, if you choose to do life your own way, the result from that will be death. And God is moral, He's fair, and He's just. And so a payment has to be made for that transgression or the debt. The good news is that God's also love. And He knew this, and so He devised a plan with His Son, and His Son Jesus would come to earth. That's why we celebrated Good Friday. Jesus would come to earth as a human being, live a perfect life, and He would actually become the payment. He would actually allow His body to be torn apart so that mine wouldn't have to be. He would actually bleed out from His veins real blood so that my blood would not have to be shed. But the challenge is, the payment, not the challenge. The good news is Jesus Christ has already paid the price for every single one of my sins, including the ones I'm going to commit next Thursday. And you too, but the payment is only credited to my account. What Jesus paid for is only credited to my account if I humble myself, if I ask Him forgiveness, and if I turn my life over to Him as Savior and Lord.